Good morning. Welcome back to Coffee with the Callers and happy Feast of the Immaculate Conception. I'm Father Doug Jeffers here with
Father James Misko.
And we're here to talk a little bit today about the feast that we celebrate today, the Feast of the Immaculate Conception. So, Father James, what are some of the things that you've been reflecting on as we celebrate this feast?
Well, I always think about a phrase that I learned when I was in theology in seminary called our original state of grace and perfection. I mean, if we were to go back in time, if we could go back in time to the beginning of humanity, before we fell, before we sinned, we would be in a perpetual state of grace and perfection where we would be like God. God created us to be like himself. And so we would be full and perfect images of God himself. And of course, after we ate of the tree of knowledge, then that's when we began to be unlike God. So when I think of the Immaculate Conception, the Feast of the Immaculate Conception, I think of Mary as our model. She is the way we were before we ate of the tree of knowledge, before we sinned. And so for me, that's always been something that I consider on this beautiful feast day during the Advent season. What are some of the things, Padre, that you think about as you approach this feast day?
Well, I think it's fitting that we keep this feast during Advent because if we look at the long preparation for Christ to come into the world, the Immaculate Conception is part of that preparation. You know, he came to our world. He could have just sort of come down out of the sky and been there, but he came in the way that others of us come through the world. He came through a woman, the scripture says, born of a woman, born under the law, in the fullness of time. And he carefully prepared everything about his coming, including and especially her. So her Immaculate Conception, her conception without original sin, made her the perfect and the most fitting vessel to receive the Creator of the universe who is conceived in her womb. And I think as we go about preparing for Christmas this Advent, we think about how we prepare ourselves also to receive him. We're not free from the stain of sin like Mary was, but we try increasingly to root sin out from our lives to make ourselves purer and purer and more ready to welcome Christ at Christmas.
This is a beautiful statue, Father. I don't know if you've seen this. Actually, someone gave this statue to us. It's from Mexico,
It's beautiful.
and it's over 120 years old. I just think it's one of the most beautiful statues. It's made of all wood, and I just think it's a very elegant portrayal of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And one of the things that's really neat about it is that she's pointing to her heart. And so many people already know that Bishop Vasquez has dedicated the diocese now to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. So tell us a little bit about what we can expect from that, Father.
Yeah, so the bishop has decided and decreed to carry out this consecration this year to place the diocese under the patronage in this special way of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. So that'll actually begin to be carried out tomorrow evening at the first vigil masses for Sunday. All around the diocese, you go to mass anywhere in the diocese, any of the parishes in this diocese, you'll see this take place at Mass tomorrow evening and on Sunday. And the priest and the people will offer up these prayers, this prayer of consecration and of placing ourselves, our churches, our diocese, all under her protection and her patronage. So it's a beautiful thing, and it's a significant moment in the life of our diocese.
So we're glad you've joined us this morning for Coffee with the Callers. And maybe this year, as you celebrate the Solemnity of the Immaculate Conception, you'll think about a couple of the things that Father Doug and I have brought up. And we look forward this weekend to seeing you all at Mass. And we look forward to praying for the intercession of the Blessed Virgin Mary under the patronage of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, as Bishop Vasquez and all of us here at St. Louis now consecrate ourselves to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. So have a great day, and let's continue to stay in prayer as we prepare now for the solemn feast of Christmas.